Namo Didafa, good morning. Thank you for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The fifth mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful consumption, I vow to cultivate good health, both physical and mental, for myself, my family, and my society, by practicing mindful eating, drinking, and consuming. I will ingest only items that preserve peace, well-being, and joy in my body, in my consciousness, and in the collective body and consciousness of my family and society. I'm determined not to use alcohol or any other items that contain toxins, such as certain TV programs, magazines, books, films, and conversations. I'm aware that to damage my body or my consciousness with these poisons is to betray my ancestors, my parents, my society, and future generations. I will work to transform violence, fear, anger, and confusion in myself and in society by practicing a diet for myself and for society. I understand that a proper diet is crucial for self-transformation and the transformation of society. For our Dharma readings, we're reading a book by the nuns of Amaravati called The Body, Dhamma Reflections on Aging, Illness, and Death. And we're in a Dhamma talk by Ajahn Sundara now called Shadows Battling with Shadows. If you knew you were going to die within a year, what would you do? If you feel a bit fuzzy and confused about your life, ask yourself, what would I do if I were to die tomorrow? This simple reflection on death has a very powerful effect. It seems to realign your mind, body, and spirit in such a way that the Dhamma becomes apparent much more quickly. Sometimes we can't see the Dhamma. We can't see the truth of this life because we are so caught up in mind states that are cloudy, confusing, and murky. And of course that makes us more and more depressed, and we just don't know how to deal with things. Life becomes a real burden. Death is part of life. It is a normal, natural thing. There's nothing we can do about it except live as skillfully as possible, because every time we go against the harmony of our mind and body, against the truth of the way things are, it hurts. You're wounding yourself somehow. One aspect of dukkha has to do with how we concoct things in our minds. We create mental concoctions that prevent us from being touched by reality or the way things are. There's the habit of the self-concoctions. We create something out of an illusion, and that something is called me. Deep down, we know that me isn't real. We're trying to believe something which we really know is elusive, and that can be quite disheartening. We walk around with a little flag that reads, I know, when in reality, we don't, because life is unknown. For a long time, that is the only way we trust. We don't have any access to a deeper source of knowledge. The dukkha of change, viparinama dukkha, is probably the easiest dukkha to see, but realization of this dukkha is difficult to integrate in our lives. It's the constant reminder of how unstable our lives can be, the fact that we don't know whether tomorrow will still be the same. As you get older, this truth becomes much more apparent. When you're young, you think you're going to live forever, and you base your plans and hopes on a lot of assumptions that our life is predictable. But that's tragic because things never stay the same. You can find yourself constantly looking for stability in a world of permanent change. So, even though the dukkha of change is not difficult to see, it is the harshest one to come to terms with because it is destabilizing. Our sense of security is based on stability, on what seems solid, or so we think. We try to establish material stability by having a job, enough money to live on, and enough resources to not be in the street begging. But the Buddha talks about another kind of security, the security of living a good life. Not a good material life, but a good inner life, a life that is integrated in goodness, in merit, in what makes our heart happy. We can rest in that life as a secure refuge, the refuge of being able to access the qualities in ourselves that are going to bring merit. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for joining me this morning.